Hi folks, Frank here, KG6NLW, and today I'm going to go over a quick overview of a neat little propagation report type setup called WSPR, or WSPR. It is a subfeature of WSJT-X, and you can find it by opening WSJT-X, selecting mode, and going down to WSPR. Now to set this up, there are a few important key features. You want to select which band you go to. For me today, it's going to be 15 meters. You also want to set your power output. So if your radio is only putting out 5 watts, you select 5 watts. If your radio is putting out 100 watts, you select 100 watts. And this will work anywhere between 1 milliwatt and 1 kilowatt. Today I have my radio set for just 5 watts of power. Now, we're going to enable transmit and transmit next so that WSPR knows to transmit the next cycle. Right now down here in the bottom left corner, you'll notice it says receiving. In a second here, it will start to show transmitting, or TX, with my call sign and my grid square. There we go, TX, my call sign, and my grid square. And you'll see that this is using the WSPR function, or WSPR function. Now, WSPR runs for a whole 2-minute cycle. So it's 2 minutes listening, 2 minutes transmitting, 2 minutes listening, 2 minutes transmitting. You get the idea. It is a lot longer than FT8, and it has a whole bunch of different features. For example, while we're transmitting, up here in this list, along the top, I can see the time in UTC, how strong the signal is, the shift of the frequency, what the frequency is, the drift of how far off frequency they are, the call sign, their grid square, their power output, and the mileage as to how far away from me they are. Currently in this setup, the top row, KK4MBI, is the furthest I've heard this evening at just over 2,400 miles. Now, this will come in handy to see who you are hearing, and with everything set up right, this will spit data out to the next feature I will show you momentarily. As you can see, down here in the bottom right, my transmit cycle is almost complete. I'm at 94 out of 120 seconds of 5 watts of transmission on 15 meters. Now this is just transmitting some sort of signal across the band at 21.095 something. This is where the frequency is set. And it just transmits the signal until it's done, and then it's done. As you can see in the bottom left corner, it's back to receiving. So I will disable transmit. Now you might go, okay Frank, this is great and everything, but how do you see where you got out to? And that is a fantastic question. You'll want to come over to a site like WSPR.ROCKS, or WSPR Rocks. You can select how long ago you saw transmission go out, or how long ago you want to see the data for. You can tell it which bands you want to see the data for. If you know someone's listening on WSPR and you want to see if they heard you, receive call is where you'd put their information. Transmit call is where you put your information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put last hour. I know I was testing out 15 meters, and I'm going to put in my call sign and hit search now. Now that should bring back some results. Hey, look at that. a handful of results, actually. This goes back to earlier when I was testing this Whisper to see how 15 meters was doing then. Now, okay, you see all this data, and it's great and everything, but maybe you want to see it in a map view. You come up here and you click Map. And at that point, it'll load the 10 best by distance stations that heard you. And if anything has taught me anything about 15 meters this time of day, it's going to be the East Coast and maybe overseas. I got into Europe, Hawaii heard me, and Brazil heard me, as well as a lot of stations on the East Coast. So there is a quick description of how Whisper works and where you can find some information about it. I'm going to post a link in the description to another ham Radio DX on YouTube here, who does a more in-depth look at Whisper. Until next time, I want to say 73 and enjoy your day. This is Frank, KG6NLW, saying 73.